Okay, I want to talk through a patient that I recently got to see this fall and kind of share some of the things that we learned as we went with him. So this is a 3-year-old. They actually came from a different state and drove over here to be seen. At that point, we just had a Nebraska license. Now we have Nebraska, Iowa, Illinois, Kansas, Florida, and Texas. So we have a bunch more licenses and are able to help people virtually now, which has been really cool. This is a 3-year-old with autism. And one of the questions that had been brought up, and this was actually before all the Make America Healthy Again sort of stuff came out in September, was around Leucovorin. And we've been using Leucovorin for autistic children for a little over a year now and have seen children improve in quite a bit of different ways from it. It's usually the studies show when we're talking about sociability, when we're talking about communication, we're talking about emotional regulation. Those are typically what you're seeing in autistic children. It's a vitamin, it's a form of folate. It's very safe and fine to try. But this was a child that had very limited communication when they first came in. We started him on in August, and every month we do a ATEC, which is a form that we use that gives us both a qualitative assessment of how things are going when it comes to all of the different things that they're seeing in their daily life. And then it also gives a quantitative, like they fill out these specific information so that we can quantify and give them a score of how things are going so that we know objectively over time if things are improving. I mean, there's a lot of different changes in every family, whether it's moving, whether it's school, whether it's illness, all those sorts of things. So this lets us qualitatively hear from them what's working and what they've noticed, but then also quantitatively see a actual score of how things are going. So we started in August with the medicine. In September, Mom noticed he's trying to talk more and has said a few words and phrases even. His eye contact is great. When she first started, his eye contact is somewhere on here. Wasn't very good, so his eye contact was improving. So that was September. This is October. He's becoming more interactive and babbling more to himself and singing, learning new words and using them without prompting. And then in December, I don't remember what happened in November. They might not have filled out the form. Sometimes people are busy. They might have even had a baby, if memory serves. December, he is nonstop talking and making good eye contact. Eye contact continues to be great. We started preschool and they have seen big changes in 3 weeks, saying words with a purpose. So qualitatively, that's what's improved. And then I want to show you here on this side. So the left-hand side is August before we started, and then this is December. You can see in the big picture, so this top area is the speech language communication. His score, which is a measure of autism symptoms, so the symptoms that we're seeing when it comes to autism, went from 22 to 12. So 10 less, almost 50% improvement when it comes to things. And I marked a few that I highlighted a few that improved that really kind of show how this helps an autistic child to live in the world, to communicate, to interact, and all those sorts of things. Can use 3 words at a time. Speech tends to be meaningful and relevant, often uses several successive sentences. Those are specific things that improved, and we can see how those could be helpful. When we look at the second category, which is emotional regulation and connection, his score initially was 13, and it dropped to 4. You might not be able to see that, but this is 13, this is 4. Areas where he improved: ignores other people, pays little no attention when dressed, uncooperative and resistant, no eye contact, prefers to be left alone. All of those categories improved, and you could see how that could make a difference for him in his life and for his parents in their life and being able to parent him and all of those sorts of things. And then the third category is really our cognition and the way that we interact with the world. Here his score went from 11 down to 6. Specific things that improved were responding to praise, looking at people and animals, initiating activities, venturesome, and not as tuned out and not as spacey. And so what I really love about this is we don't just start them on the medicine and leave them on the medicine. We qualitatively look and hear from them and get to hear what's different, what have you noticed, what's better, what's changed, is there anything that's worse, have we had any challenges or difficulties with the medication or anything along those lines. We get that qualitative, and then we also get the quantitative where we can say, hey, the autism symptom score improved by 20 or 30% over the course of 2 to 3 months. And that's really powerful, especially when they're younger and we're saying, wow, these are things that if we hadn't done this, it might have taken it longer, or they might not have gotten there. And we were able to, with a vitamin, improve his quality of life and improve his ability to communicate and share and interact and connect with his parents, with the world. Some people talk about how there aren't huge multi-center randomized trials. Well, it's hard to do that, one, with a vitamin, because there's just not a lot of pharmacy markup that they can do. Like a pharmaceutical company is not really interested in vitamins. I mean, the big wellness industry is huge for this, but a pharmaceutical company can't make buku bucks off of a vitamin that, isn't difficult to produce, isn't overly expensive, or those sorts of things. So that limits those big studies from being done. And I don't want to wait 10 years. I don't want to wait till this 3-year-old is 13 before saying, okay, now we've had the studies that we've finally said these are large enough studies, these show all these sorts of things. If it's a safe intervention like a vitamin, and we have good randomized controlled trials that show improvement, even if they're small, single center, which there's multiple small single center studies showing improvement, if it's a vitamin, if it's not expensive, it's not a serious intervention, then what's going to stop me from helping this 3-year-old to communicate better and to enjoy his world better, to continue to grow and develop in ways that without this vitamin might have been slowed or delayed? And so that's my perspective when it comes to leucovorin, and I hope that this was helpful to just see how we approach it and what we actually get to see in our practice when these parents share with us how things are going.